What's up YouTube, this is Detroit Borg with a look at the new July 2011 MacBook Air. This happens to be the 11.6 inch model, and there are three versions you can buy in the Apple Store today. Good, better, and best. This happens to be the better model, so this slots right between the two. The cheapest MacBook Air at $999 gives you only 64 gigs of storage and 2 gigs of RAM. This is the middle model. I think this is the sweet spot for the MacBook Air. At only $200 more, you get 128 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. So just like the last generation MacBook Air 11-inch, we have the same profile, the same body design, so we have this nice wedge shape. Now on the back I get my spec sticker. This is what you get when you buy a standard configuration or a configuration you pick up in the store. If you do a custom order or a built-to-order configuration, you don't get these. Alrighty, so let's crack into this packaging. So there's the MacBook Air with this little tab to pull it up. You see the back of it here. So we're going to take a look at this in a minute. Inside we have designed by Apple in California. So this is our little goodie packet. In here we'll find our literature and our Apple stickers. Hello. We have our warranty information and our Apple stickers. Now what you don't get, as you got in the last MacBook Air, is a restore drive. So there's no discs. Of course, there is no optical drive on the MacBook Air, and you don't get the USB drive either. And that's because the backup is available in a partition on the drive of the MacBook Air. Now inside we have our wall wart, and we also have our cable. So we have the extension cable here with the adapter at the end. And then we have our MagSafe cable here. We look at it right here. Got a little plastic protector on it. Again, we have this nice aluminum connector, so it's nice and durable. We have these little indicator lights on the top and bottom. Just peel off the plastic. And we have our foldable prongs. Of course, this is unique to North America. This pops off, and you can connect your extension cable like this, or your international adapters wherever you're going. And we have our little wire tie-up prongs here, so we just wrap the wire up, and there you go. You can put this in your laptop bag and it'll stay nice and neat. Now let's get to the star of the show, the MacBook Air. All we have to do is peel this tab, rip it open, and slide it out just like an envelope. Sticky envelope. Now the design of the MacBook Air is unchanged, so we have this same wedge shape, all aluminum unibody construction. I find this very comfortable to type on because it has a nice angle to the keyboard. On the side we have the USB 2.0 port, and we have the one cosmetic change on the MacBook Air, which is this Thunderbolt logo. Of course, this used to be the display port. Now it's a DisplayPort / Thunderbolt port. On the back we have the hinge, and of course under the hinge is the vent, as you can see down here. So you can, if you look very closely, you'll see the vents. That's how the MacBook Air breathes. On the other side, we have a second USB 2.0 port. We also have our MagSafe power connector, and we have our headphone / microphone input. Everything is combined here. And we also have a little microphone. Now on the bottom, we just have one aluminum panel with these pentalobular screws, which make it somewhat difficult to remove this panel. It's not designed to be user accessible. We also have these plastic feet. Now, of course, at the bottom, we have this finger cutout to lift the display. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, lifting the display, we have this little piece of paper to protect the screen during shipping. And if we look, we have this nice glass trackpad, which is very wide. We have a nice palm rest here. We have the same keyboard, but there are a few differences here. One of them is the fact that the keyboard now has a backlight, so we have the backlit controls on the F5 and F6 keys. And the MacBook Air also picks up some new keys, so the F3 and F4 key are now different functions. Instead of dashboard and expose, we now have mission control and launcher, so F3 and F4. So if we look at the older keyboard, you can see here F3 and F4 were expose and dashboard. Now the display is carried over, as is the camera. Unfortunately, we did not get a FaceTime HD camera as we did with the MacBook Pros and the iMacs. So let's go ahead and start this up for the first time. And again, the power button is on the keyboard. It's not a dedicated key like you'd find on the MacBook Pro. Alright, so we got our start screen here. We're going to use English as our language. So I'm in the United States. I have a US keyboard. So I'm going to log into my wireless network. Alright, so I have several options here to transfer my information to this new Mac. I can transfer from another Mac, from a Windows PC, from Time Machine or other disk, or I don't have to transfer anything at all. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to use Migration Assistant to take care of that later. I'm going to enter in my Apple ID, my license agreement, click Continue. I agree. Alright, so I've created my account for this computer. I've entered my full name, my account name, in this case I'm calling it MacBook Air, my password, and we're going to click Continue. Now it wants me to take a snapshot, and I'm not going to do that right now. We're just going to go to pick a picture, anything. Let's do the lotus flower, Continue. And it's just telling us about reverse scrolling. It wants us to hover the cursor over this text and for us to experiment with it. You can change this under settings, but basically what was up is now down and what is down is now up, so it's a little different. We're going to start using Mac OS X Lion. Log in. There you are. Now what you notice you didn't get here is the animation. Unfortunately, OS X Lion has done away with the welcome animation, so unfortunately that's gone for good. Now, one of my favorite features about the new MacBook Air is the Illuminate keyboard. This is something I really missed. So all you have to do is use the brightness controls to control it, so it can go down or up. I'm going to leave it all the way up, and we're going to turn off some light so we can take a look at it. So there we go. We have our backlit keyboard, and we can play around with it. We can turn it up and down. Let's see if we turn it all the way down. Turn it all the way off. Turn it all the way up. Again, if you tilt it around, again, you can see how the keys light up from the back. Very nice. Alrighty, with the lights low, let's do some testing here. We're going to restart it. See how fast it is with the standard configuration. Now I should note that you can activate the ambient light sensor for the keyboard, so it will automatically turn the keyboard on and off in bright or low light. So there you go. We're going to log in. Whoop. You can also brighten the screen with the controls on the keyboard. So let's review those keys. We have the F3 key for the mission control, and then we have the F4 key for launcher. So this is basically all our apps. Now taking a quick look at the MagSafe power connector, all you have to do is hold it near the power connector and it snaps into place automatically, and you'll see the power light indicator turn green, and it'll turn amber because of course this MacBook Air isn't fully charged. Once it's fully charged, it's green. And of course you can flip this around any way you want, and there you go. Alright guys, I'm going to have a lot more on the MacBook Air, but generally I just want to mention that this is the configuration I would recommend for you guys. Again, this is only a $200 upgrade from the standard configuration, but I've had the MacBook Air previously and I thought 64 gigs was too small. It didn't give me any room to breathe, so I had to be really mindful of what I was putting on the computer. With 128 gigs, you have a lot more room. Keeping in mind that, of course, at 64 gigs, that's excluding the operating system, iLife, and other software that's on the computer. So in the end, you really have a little over 50 gigs of storage on the MacBook Air for you to play with. And the other problem with the standard configuration is it only gives you 2 gigs of RAM, and unfortunately that is not enough, and you can't upgrade it yourself. So I would upgrade to 4 gigs of RAM from Apple. The RAM is soldered onto the board, so it's not user accessible. So once again, guys, this is Detroit Borg with the MacBook Air. I'm going to have more on this in upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.